She didn't just park in his driveway, she parked there like she owned it. It was a Tuesday morning, the kind of ordinary day where nothing is supposed to go wrong. Marcus Webb, a 38-year-old software engineer, walked out of his front door with a coffee in hand, laptop bag over his shoulder, ready for an early meeting. He'd bought his house in the Maplewood Heights community 2 years prior, paid full price, worked hard for every single dollar of it. And yet, when he stepped outside that morning, his jaw dropped. A silver SUV, a spotless pearl-colored Cadillac Escalade, was parked directly in his driveway, completely blocking him in. No note, no apology, nothing. Marcus stood there for a moment, genuinely confused. He looked left. He looked right. He double-checked the address on his own mailbox. Yep, his house, his driveway, someone else's car. He pulled out his phone and looked up the vehicle on the neighborhood HOA app. The same app that Karen Mitchell, the self-appointed community standards chair, had insisted every resident install. And there it was. The car was registered to Karen Mitchell herself, his next-door neighbor, the woman who had already sent him 3 passive-aggressive letters about the height of his grass and the color of his mailbox post. Marcus took a deep breath. He did not knock on her door. He did not leave a note. He called the tow truck. To understand what happened next, you need to understand who Karen Mitchell was in this neighborhood. Karen had lived in Maplewood Heights for 11 years. In that time, she had served on the HOA board twice, filed over 40 formal complaints against various neighbors, and developed a reputation for knowing and enforcing every single rule in the community handbook. She knew which fences were 2 inches too tall. She knew which residents had the wrong species of shrubs in their front yards. She was, in her own mind, the guardian of the neighborhood. But there was a pattern that several neighbors had quietly noticed over the years. Karen's enforcement was selective. The Johnsons on the corner had a boat parked in their side yard for 3 summers. No complaint. The Petersons ran a home business out of their garage with customers coming and going. No complaint. But Marcus? Marcus got a letter within 2 weeks of moving in because his welcome mat was non-regulation size. Marcus had tried to be a good neighbor. He introduced himself. He brought cookies during the holidays. He volunteered for the neighborhood cleanup day, but Karen always seemed to find something wrong, with his trash bins being 1 inch too, close to the curb with the package delivery trucks that occasionally parked briefly in front of his home with anything she could pin on him. And now? Her car was in his driveway, whether it was entitlement, absent-mindedness, or something more. Deliberate, the result was the same. She had crossed a very clear line. The tow truck arrived within 25 minutes. Marcus filmed everything on his phone, calmly, professionally, without saying a single angry word. He documented the car's position, his driveway, his address, the timestamp, and the tow truck operator hooking up the Escalade. Then he went back inside, called a ride-share, and went to his meeting. He didn't hear from Karen until that evening. She knocked on his door at 6:47 p.m. He knew because his doorbell camera logged it. She was visibly furious. She explained in a tone that left very little room for interpretation that she had simply needed a moment to drop something off at a neighbor's house 2 doors down, and that the whole street was temporarily full. She told Marcus that he had overreacted, that a normal, reasonable neighbor would have simply knocked on her door and asked her to move. Marcus nodded slowly. He told her calmly that he didn't believe that was his responsibility. His driveway was private property. The HOA rules, the very rules Karen herself had championed, were clear. No parking in private driveways without the owner's explicit permission. Karen stared at him. She told him she expected him to cover the $275 tow and impound fee she had been charged to retrieve her vehicle. Marcus told her, just as calmly, that he did not. She left. And that, most people assumed, was the end of it. It was not. 11 days. Later, Marcus walked outside and felt the world tilt sideways, the silver Escalade, in his driveway. Again. This time, there was actually a note under his front door. It said, and this is almost hard to believe, "Hi, Marcus, needed to park quickly again. Back in 20 mins." Marcus read the note twice. Then he picked up his phone. Then he called the same tow company. He even had the dispatcher's number saved at this point. The tow truck came. The car was gone before Karen's 20 minutes were up. This time, Marcus also did something extra. He posted the doorbell footage. Both incidents, fully time-stamped, are in the neighborhood's private Facebook group, not with any angry caption, not with insults, just a simple factual post. Friendly reminder that private driveways are private property. Here is footage from 2 separate incidents this month. Please be respectful of your neighbor's property. The response was immediate. Dozens of neighbors commented, and it turned out Marcus was not alone. 3 other residents, including 2 families who had lived there longer than Karen, shared their own stories of selective enforcement, intimidating letters, and what they described as harassment dressed up in HOA language. The post was shared outside the group. Local media picked it up. Within 48 hours, the story had reached regional news outlets. Karen did not comment on the post, but the HOA board had no choice but to respond. An emergency HOA board meeting was called. Marcus attended. So did nearly 60 of his neighbors, more than had shown up to any meeting in the community's history. The meeting was long. It was uncomfortable. Several neighbors spoke about their experiences with Karen's complaint filings. Marcus presented his documentation, the footage, the timestamps, the text of the note Karen had left. He also presented something else, a carefully organized record of every formal HOA complaint filed in the past 5 years, cross-referenced with the addresses and, where public record allowed, the demographics of the residents targeted. The pattern, laid out in black and white, was difficult to dismiss. The HOA board voted that night to remove Karen from her position as Community Standards Chair. They also issued a formal written reminder to all residents about private property boundaries and quietly revised their complaint filings process to require board review before any formal notice could be sent to a homeowner. Karen Mitchell did not attend another HOA meeting after that night. Marcus, for his part, didn't celebrate. He didn't post a victory message or give interviews. He went home, made dinner, and the next morning walked outside with his coffee. And his driveway was empty, just as it should be, but the story had already spread. Because what Marcus did wasn't dramatic. He didn't yell. He didn't retaliate. He didn't even knock on her door. He simply knew his rights, enforced them quietly, documented everything, and let the truth speak for itself. And that, more than anything, is what made people stop scrolling and pay attention.